So the next step here is going to be seeing if, being that these are expensive and we don't want to replace them all, we want to see if there is shims here that can go in another spot that are going to be replaced. All these big shims over here, the 200s, those are probably not going to be used. So we can go ahead and get rid of those. Rarely do I use the bigger ones like that except on dirt bikes, so they're nice to keep around. So now we look at these numbers that we need. We need some 190s. So 188 would be best there. Well, we have a 188. This is a 191. It maybe can use somewhere else. We'll hold on to that. We have a 180. So we have a 189 here and probably a 188. It's kind of hard to tell on these. So we can put that there. So that's going to be the one we want. We have some 189s. Those can go in those, if there's any that wanted. So 189 will be okay in this one here. And probably in this one here. So we have 188 right here. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. So we got a bunch calling for 195s. I happen to have some new 195s, so we'll get started on those. This one's a 195. It's a 195. It's a 198. Probably not gonna use that one. Got a 196. That'll work for there. Need some more 195s. What we got here? 189. So we can run some of these 189s in 190 spots. There's a 190. That gives us another 195. Just needs to go here. This is a 195. So it would be happy right here. What we got here? We need some 190s and another 195. So this one here is a 191. So that'll work okay right there. Now we just need one more 195 or something close. So 199, that probably won't work. Okay, so now we got a bit of an issue. I don't have enough shims for here. Hopefully I can find some or make something work. So this is sometimes where you got to reorganize them around if something would work better there. Like this one could have a 192. So, and so could this one, but this one's even a little wider. I guess they're the same really. We got a 195 there and a 195 there. So what we can probably do here, also this one here could be a lot bigger. So we got a 0.11, so that means we need 9 more. And we have 201. So this 191 will probably work there fine too. So now we have a bunch of shims that'll probably work on the intake. We won't know until we remeasure them again. So now we got to deal with the exhaust side. Looks like we need some 180s. Yeah, 3 180s is look like what we're calling for here. 196. We need them a little more. No, I think that'll be okay. So we got some 184s and some 185s. Oh, got another 195 there overlooked. Where's that iffy one? That one might end up being too wide, but we'll save it for later and find out. Let me get my giant box of shims here. See what we can come up with. So I see some 179s, so that's good. So this one here could use a much thinner one. I actually wrote 178, so we have a 179, so that'll work. So what's a 180? These two are semi-okay, so we'll see what we have first. Got another 178 here. It measured pretty tight, so that'd probably be a good place for that one. Oh yeah, it calls for 178. There's a 185, that'll put that at 0.25. It's a little tighter than I like. If I can find some 180s, we'll open it back up. Okay, I've got some 184s. That's gonna be a little bit wider than I would like, but it'll open it up to about 0.25, so we'll go with that on that one. Get another one here. So we can open up that one just a little bit more too. Well, this one's worse, so we'll go with that one. Unless I can find some 180 shims. That's probably about as good as we can get it right now with the shims I have available. Okay, so the next step is going to be putting the shims back into the engine here and measuring it again after we put the cams back in and retime everything. It's definitely a time-consuming process, but it's something you have to do, and it is important. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and put the shims back in. That way we can go ahead and measure it and make sure we're where we need to be. So I'll just get started on these. There's really not a lot to talk about here, so we're gonna go ahead and time lapse this one. Okay, and they're in. So one thing to mention here is when you're putting these shims in, make sure they're all the way flat and seated, and they'll actually rotate kind of easily like that if you just push on them. So now we're gonna pop the cams back in. Okay, so first we'll go ahead and get the exhaust cam put back in. Remember, we want it to be top dead center on cylinder 1 with that T lined up with the slot right here. First I'll put the exhaust cam in. Again, remember, you're going to pull up tight on this timing chain, and the hole here is going to line up, the little tiny hole right there. I know you can see that. It's going to line up with the mark that's on the cap right there. Well, the cap is going to be on there, but we know it's in the middle, so we can kind of go off of that. Yeah, that ought to do it right there. So go ahead and bring that cap in first. That's going to be this one. We know it's this one because it has the R stamped in it. I'm not sure if you can see that. It might be out of focus. The R stamped in it right there. That's the right one, and this is the exhaust one. So go ahead and get that put into place. Okay, looks like I was about 1 tooth off there. So I adjusted that. Maybe even 1 more tooth. Let's try 1 more. That's probably going to be it right there. So go ahead and run that one down gently. And then of course the first one here. On these, they look identical to the intake one, but this one has an E on it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and torque this one down, which is going to be to 10 Newton meters. I'll use a crisscross fashion. Okay, the exhaust cam's on. We can see that that hole is lined up exactly with that right there with the arrow. There's a line down the side that helps you too, make it a little bit easier. Okay, so next we're going to put the intake cam back in. Its hole's right here actually on this cam lobe in the center of it. So that's going to go right about there. Of course, this one's a little more tricky to get in here, but not impossible. Okay, so right here I have it too far. I need to come back this way some. Yeah, I think I got it. We'll go ahead and put that cap on there and find out. So on this one, this is the high end down here. Okay, so I think it's actually 1 tooth off, so I need to fix that real quick. I know you can't really see it from there, but it's just a little bit that way, so it needs to come 1 tooth back this way. Get this one more or less lined up. So again, we'll go ahead and start with this one down here. Okay, now that we got that on there, we got to get this lined up with the dot there. So we got that timing spot on there. Now we just got to make sure that this lines up. Looks like I'm about a tooth off. And that's it. I have to put these bolts in one at a time just because of the nature of it. So now we'll go ahead and torque these back down. So we got all those torqued down. Now we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the tensioner. Don't try to turn the engine without reinstalling the tensioner first, or you're gonna have a bad day. These of course are auto tensioners, so you just have to screw the thing in. And the tricky part, you have to hold the screwdriver there as you put it in. Okay, so we have that on there. Now we just gotta put this other bolt back in. So I'll just turn the engine a little bit so I can get to that. I'll torque that down later because I can't remember what the torque is right now on it. Okay, so now that we have the engine back together, it's time to measure the valve clearance again. I'm going to turn it a couple times just to make sure it seats. So of course we're going to line it back up. An easy little cheat way of that is lining that up again. We'll line it right up for you. So we'll start with the cylinder 1 down here and get to measuring them. Hopefully we'll be where we need to be. So I'll start with the exhaust side here. Start with a 0.25 because we should be at least at that. Yeah, 0.25 is good on both of those. Okay, this one's a 0.28, so it is good. This one over here is a very tight 0.28, but definitely 0.28. So we're good there on both of those. That's exactly where I wanted those two guys to be. Over here, of course I'm keeping notes over here of all my stuff I'm doing up here too, just so I don't forget. So we'll start with the 0.20, see if that works on them all, because that is the maximum that it should be on the intake. 0.20 does fit on this one. So since this one fits on the maximum, we're going to want to check right below it, if I can find that one. It's going to be this 0.23 here, which will not fit. So we're good there, 0.20. That's at the very maximum. 0.20 will not fit on those two. So we'll go down to a 0.18. 0.18 will not fit on the middle one, so this one's 0.18. We'll try 0.15 on this middle one. Fits no problem, so that's at least 0.15. This one's not as consistent as I would normally like. There's a little bit of a gap there. This one could probably use like a 185, and this one could use like a 191 or something to get it there exactly, but it's within spec. So go ahead and rotate the engine to the next position. So that'll be 90 degrees, or 180 degrees, sorry. Get that tool to find exact top dead center, or more or less top dead center anyway. Okay. So we'll start with these again. 0.15. No problem on any of those. So we'll go straight for the 0.20. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Problem. So this one's gonna be 0.18, the first one. The 0.20 fits no problem in the next two. This one's a little loose and I'm a little bit concerned about it. So we'll go up to the next size. It's gonna be the 0.23. Won't fit, won't fit, won't fit. Okay, so both of those are gonna be 0.20. We'll go here to this exhaust side. I already have this one out, so we'll start with that one. 0.23 fits. 0.25 fits. Try this 0.28. Yeah, barely. Barely. Try the 0.30. That fits on that one. Really fits on both of them. 0.33 will not fit on either. So we'll call those 0.30. So then we'll go ahead and rotate it another 180 degrees. There we are. So next we're gonna measure this down here. We'll start with the 0.33, already got it up. Ooh, it kind of goes in there, but I have to force it. That's what that one is. 0.30, 0.30. Both those are 0.30. Okay, next we'll do this side. So 0.20 fits no problem on that one, won't fit in the center one, and no problem on the end one. So we'll go down to the 0.18, and that's no problem. It fits on that one. So that middle one there is 0.18. So I go up to my 0.23. Will not fit. So that one there is going to be 0.20. And this one down here I'm a little concerned about. It won't fit either. It's probably a little big, but it'll be okay. So that one's going to be 0.20. Okay, so we're looking good there. Next we'll turn it another 180 degrees and check that last cylinder there. So none of the 0.23s went in there, but the 0.20 will, so that's 0.20. That one's 0.20. And that one's a little tight. It's 0.18, so that's okay. Alright, we'll check this exhaust over here. 0.23 on both of these, no problem. Go up to the 0.25. Not a problem. 0.28, that's about what that one is. That one's okay, so this one's about a 0.28. Which is what I measured earlier. And this one, that's a tight 0.30, but it's okay. Okay, so that's about it. The only one I'm not super happy with is this one right here, which only measured at a 0.15. I'd like to see a little more than that. I may fix that off camera, but that's basically all there is to it on shimming your valves. Just make sure you got everything tightened down and you're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed the video and it was informative. Up next, we'll probably either do the rebuilding the carbs or porting the intake boots. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, thank you for watching, and see you next time.